that? Oh yeah, it's exactly what you think it is. We're up here in Brewster, New York on a cold, chilly winter day, driving the 2015 Corvette Z06. I'm Tom Albrecht, and this is FLD Tours. Welcome to the 2015 Corvette Stingray Z06. This is the pinnacle of Corvette power. It is awesome. 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque from the first-time supercharged LT4 6.2-liter V8. GM has really put together a hot piece of car. 0 to 60 in the automatic in 2.9 seconds, and in the 7-speed manual, 3.2. GM being wise to have multiple packages, just like the C7 Corvette where you have your 1LT, 2LT, 3LT. The Z06 has the 1LZ, 2LZ, and 3LZ. The car we're driving today has a 3LZ package, which has all the wonderful additions that you'd expect from a car like this. It also has the Z07 package, which adds carbon fiber pieces, a wing in the back that's adjustable, carbon ceramic brakes which bite hard. You have a beautiful sounding exhaust system, which comes across all of them, but still, I had to mention it. The interior stays pretty much the same from the C7. The color scheme in this particular one is beautiful. You got red on black on carbon fiber with silver accents. The heads-up display is obviously clear as day, just like any other premium GM vehicle out there. The steering wheel is meaty, grippy, just like the tires are. Now, what you get with the Z06 package on the top level 3LZ trim or the Z07 are the Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires, which are not currently on this vehicle because the owner decided to get winter tires. Yes, he's going to drive this car in the winter when there's snow and ice and everything. That's a lot of trust in the tires. That's a lot of trust in the car. This does have a winter mode in it, which manages the power, manages the suspension, manages the anti-brake system, and all the nannies work together to keep this car on the road. So like the current C7, the Z06 has different driving modes, and each of them changes the dynamics of the car. This comes with magnetic ride control. Magnetic ride control is probably the most important invention to come out of GM that they've put in their cars. It is phenomenal. It just blows away the driving experience compared to anything else out there that's running a standard suspension. A system that adjusts itself 1,000 times per second to the road conditions based on what you want to do is very important for a car like this. And now to make it even better, they have an electronic limited slip differential, which helps you control the power and really be, dumb way to put it, goof-proof. It's very hard to screw up in this thing. If you really want to slide around and drift, you absolutely can, and it will let you. But if you're driving hard and you want to do it properly, and we're not all the greatest drivers out there, and there's race car drivers out there that still will push it to the absolute bleeding edge, and they rely on the tires, and they rely on the limited slip diff to sort of help them push that bleeding edge. This car does it phenomenally. Oh, yeah. The other neat little feature is rev match downshift. Now that's something I really enjoyed in the C7 Corvette, but I'm getting a hint that this car just does it a little bit better. I had no problems with the system in the regular C7, but it felt just a tinge laggy, just a tinge. Like it was ready to always downshift, but it never was 100%. It was like 98. This car is 110. When you go into the rev match downshift, it is there. It's there. No matter what gear you're going into, it snaps right into it. Woo! We got a little off the ground there. I was able to drive the regular C7 Corvette and absolutely loved it. Obviously, the Z06 had to be a car to drive. Now, the big question is, how much better is this? Well, we know it has more horsepower. It's 3 inches wider than the outgoing one. It has an adjustable rear wing, which is conveniently clear in the middle so you can see through it if there's anything behind you. It still has the same heads-up display, awesome 7-speed transmission. I mean, that alone just screams awesomeness. The power, the thrust that you experience from this car is just magnificent. And don't get me wrong, you know, the regular C7 Corvette, which 455 horsepower is no slouch, handles beautifully. This car, it's like Spinal Tap. We're jamming out, you know, we're at 10, but we want to do a little bit more. We're going to 11. This car goes to 12. It's impressive. Those carbon ceramic brakes make a huge difference. When you're plowing on the pedal and just going forward as fast as you can and you need to stop, you hit those brakes, man, you're gonna stop. The fade is almost non-existent. Even if they get hot, it's still there. Now, how do you compare a car like this? In my previous review, I made a bold statement. If you're in the market for a Ferrari, you should really consider a Corvette. And a lot of commenters were really upset about that. But hear me out. Let me put it in context for you. A Ferrari is a statement. It is a vehicle that you buy that you're basically telling the world, look at me, I've arrived. And not only because of the price and the status that goes with it, but it's a hand-built engine. It's a hand-built car mostly. You know, there's still obviously some machines that are involved in the process, but you know, it's a work of art. It's a work of engineering all rolled into one. But guess what? You pop the hood on this car, look at the engine. On the Z07 package, there's a nameplate on your engine, and that nameplate has a signature of the person that hand-built the engine. Now, granted, I said this about the regular C7, which doesn't have that. It's a factory-line built engine. But the context is this. If you're in the market for a performance car that you can drive every day, drive to the track, this is still the better choice. Yes, Ferrari has the performance. Yes, it has the cachet. Yes, that engine sounds incredible. Absolutely pure symphonic joy to your ears. It's a cacophony of awesomeness. But the Corvette comes with a 100,000 mile powertrain warranty within 5 years, obviously. But still, how do you compete with that? That means you can take this car and drive the ever-living shit out of it. And if something happens to the powertrain, you go to the dealership and you say, hey, something's wrong. And they fix it for you. Free of charge, as long as you didn't break it or, you know, doing something silly on a track. You know, there's always caveats to a warranty. But still, you have that safety net right there for you. With a Ferrari, I mean, not really. They'll kind of laugh at you if something breaks and be like, it's going to cost you to fix it. This is an everyday car. A Ferrari you drive on the weekends. I mean, yeah, sure, you can drive it every day, and I really respect and appreciate those people who do, but that's a risk. It's expensive. This car starts at $78,995. If you put everything together, you're probably around $96,000, $97,000, not including taxes and everything else on top of that. So you're basically looking at a $100,000 car. A Ferrari in this same class, $200,000, $300,000, any other sports car. But you're getting American-made muscle, hand-built engine. Now another car you want to look at, Nissan GT-R, same price, and it has this slew of electronics and computers that makes the driving experience, in my opinion, don't kill me, boring, but you can drive that thing like a pro race car driver and have very little experience doing it. The car does that for you. And guess what? So does the Z06. The Z06 has similar computational systems that help manage turn-in, braking, slip, all those things. You know, it's all there, just like the GT-R, but here's the difference. The GT-R is a digital car in the digital age. Corvette Z06 is a digital masterpiece in an analog world, and you get the best of both. You get that roaring, supercharged V8 engine combined with some of the best technology out there. There's been a conversation going on the internet about the Z06 cutting power when it, doing a couple of hot laps or driving very hard. Let me try and address that as best as possible, because I'm sure people will bring it up in the comments. I am not an expert in this situation. I am not going to claim to be completely 100% knowledgeable, but I did my research and this is what I found out. So, arguably, the system is mapped for a forced induction engine. It is an intercooled, supercharged V8. That is a lot of power and a lot of heat generated from that forced induction. Now, because GM has a 100,000 mile warranty on their powertrain, you would imagine that it would make sense for them to map the ECU in such a way that it will prevent damage as best as it possibly can. So someone commented on a Corvette forum that they looked at the tables on the ECU mapping and noticed that at a certain point when the internal temperature reaches, it will cut power in order to maintain the temperature and make sure it doesn't get too high and doesn't damage the internals. Not to say the engine will blow itself up or detonate. I'm sure it can handle a lot more abuse than what GM did. They were conservative. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Because if you do want to drive this car at the track and you really want to push this thing balls to the wall, guess what? You need a roll cage, because this roof is detachable. So whether you're in the coupe or the convertible, you still need a cage to officially race. So you're modifying the car and you're losing that warranty. So at that point, you might as well get a bigger intercooler, remap the ECU, and make sure that you get a consistent, reliable amount of power throughout the track day, which requires testing and practice. And, there's a little trial and error here and there, and you make sure you do it conservatively so you don't ruin your engine. Or you find a shop that's been through the paces and they set it up so they don't ruin the engine. And I think that's fair. So before anyone starts ripping my head off like, oh, that's wrong, blah, 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 do the research yourself. If you know any better, please email us, tips@fastlanedaily.com. Let's start a conversation about this. And I think it's very important that, we get to the bottom of it, not only for you as viewers, but also for the people who are interested in purchasing the vehicle, so they're not put off by it. But if anyone is thinking about really considering getting a Z06 and they're like, well, I heard this and that about the ECU cutting power, think about it logically. Powertrain warranty, that's a big one. So they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that your engine and your powertrain stays intact for as long as possible so that you have a reliable car. So there you have it. It's got a hand-built engine. It's got 650 horsepower, the Corvette Z06 Z07 package. It's fast, it's loud, it's capable. It can be your track star and it can be your daily driver. It's a really awesome machine that GM put out. And I'm really, really happy that I got to drive it. So on that note, thanks for watching FL Detours. I'm Tom Albrecht. Until next time. There was one car that I really loved for the longest time, and it still has a place in my heart. And that's the Camaro ZL1. I love the way it sounded. I love the way it drove. And there was one thing I did when I had that car that I need to do right now. Are you ready?